The tension in Judge Judy's courtroom was suffocating, as America's most feared television judge prepared to hear what would become the most shocking parenting case in daytime TV history. Under the harsh studio lights, 42-year-old Jennifer Walsh sat rigidly in her designer blazer, her perfectly highlighted blonde hair framing a face that screamed entitled, "Suburban Mom." As the president of Westchester County's most prestigious PTA, and a self-proclaimed gentle parenting expert with over 50,000 Instagram followers, Jennifer had built her entire identity around being the perfect mother who protected her children from life's harsh realities. Before we dive into this incredible case, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love seeing where my viewers are around the world, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss more unbelievable cases like this one. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Across the courtroom sat her ex-husband Mark, a tired-looking construction worker whose calloused hands told the story of real work and real struggle. He had come to Judge Judy as a last resort, claiming that Jennifer's helicopter parenting was destroying their two children, 12-year-old Emma and 14-year-old Tyler. But Jennifer wasn't worried. She had faced down school principals, coaches, and teachers who dared to challenge her parenting methods. How hard could one elderly TV judge be? That confidence would prove to be the biggest mistake of her life. When Judge Judy began questioning Jennifer about household rules and consequences for bad behavior, Jennifer's response was swift and condescending. "With all due respect, Your Honor, you clearly don't understand modern parenting techniques. Some of us have evolved beyond traumatizing children with outdated discipline methods. My children thrive because I nurture their emotional needs instead of crushing their spirits like your generation did." The courtroom fell silent. Judge Judy's eyes narrowed with that look that had terrified litigants for decades. But what happened next would expose Jennifer Walsh in ways she never imagined possible. Because hidden in the court files was a secret so devastating, so completely contrary to Jennifer's perfect mother image, that it would destroy not just her case, but her entire reputation as a parent. Her own children had been interviewed by court services 3 days earlier, and what they revealed about their mother's parenting would leave Judge Judy speechless and the studio audience gasping in disbelief. You see, Jennifer Walsh thought she was coming to court to defend her gentle parenting philosophy. What she didn't know was that she was about to be exposed as the worst kind of parent imaginable, and the evidence would come from the most damaging source possible, her own children's mouths. Before we dive into this absolutely devastating courtroom destruction, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel, because what you're about to witness is the most brutal parenting reality check ever captured on television. Trust me, you will not want to miss how this entitled PTA Karen gets completely annihilated by the truth about her own parenting. And it all starts when Judge Judy opens that confidential file and begins reading what Jennifer's children really think about their mother. This wasn't just another messy custody battle that would be forgotten by tomorrow. This was ground zero in America's parenting culture war, where helicopter moms armed with psychology degrees from Google University clash with old-school accountability advocates who believe children need boundaries to thrive. Jennifer Walsh had unknowingly walked into the ultimate battleground, where Judge Judy Sheindlin, with her 40 years of family court experience, would serve as the final arbiter of what real parenting actually looks like. But here's what makes this case absolutely explosive, and why it would become the most shared courtroom video in social media history. 3 days before this hearing, court services had conducted mandatory interviews with Emma and Tyler Walsh as part of the custody evaluation process. These weren't casual conversations. These were formal recorded testimonies where trained child psychologists asked probing questions about their home life, their relationship with both parents, and most importantly, their honest feelings about their mother's famous gentle parenting approach that had made her an Instagram sensation. Jennifer had no idea these interviews had taken place. She walked into that courtroom believing her children would never betray the perfect family image she had so carefully crafted online. After all, she had spent years conditioning them to always say they were happy, always express gratitude for her protective parenting, and never, ever complain about the way she handled their lives. She had created what she thought was the perfect mother-child relationship, built on emotional safety and unconditional support. What Jennifer didn't understand was that Judge Judy had already read every single word of those interviews before the cameras started rolling. The woman who had seen every type of family dysfunction imaginable, who had dealt with deadbeat dads and abusive mothers and neglectful guardians, sat behind that bench already knowing that Jennifer Walsh represented something far more insidious than traditional bad parenting. She represented the new breed of parent who destroys children while believing they're saving them. The stakes couldn't have been higher. If Jennifer won this case, it would validate an entire generation of helicopter parents who shield their children from consequences, do their homework for them, and fight every battle on their behalf. It would prove that emotional coddling trumps life preparation, that feelings matter more than character development, and that modern parenting techniques are superior to the old-fashioned methods that built generations of resilient, independent adults. But if Judge Judy's traditional approach prevailed, if those secret interviews revealed what many teachers, coaches, and school administrators had been whispering about for years, then Jennifer Walsh wouldn't just lose custody of her children. She would become the poster child for everything wrong with modern parenting, a cautionary tale that would haunt gentle parenting advocates for decades to come. The television audience had no idea they were about to witness one of the most important parenting moments ever captured on camera. They thought they were watching another entitled mom get put in her place. What they were actually about to see was the complete destruction of a parenting philosophy that has been quietly damaging children across America, and the evidence would be so overwhelming, so undeniable, that even Jennifer's most devoted Instagram followers would be forced to confront the truth about what gentle parenting actually produces. Judge Judy opened that confidential file, looked directly at Jennifer Walsh, and prepared to read aloud the most damning parental indictment ever spoken in a courtroom. But first, she would give Jennifer one last chance to dig her own grave even deeper, because what Jennifer said next would make her children's eventual testimony even more devastating by contrast. To understand the magnitude of what was about to happen to Jennifer Walsh, you need to understand exactly who she had become in the world of modern parenting. This wasn't just some random suburban mom who spoiled her kids. Jennifer had built an entire empire around her gentle parenting philosophy, and her fall from grace would be proportional to the heights she had reached. Jennifer's Instagram account, Nurturing Hearts Parenting, boasted over 52,000 followers who hung on her every word about raising emotionally intelligent children. Her bio read, Protecting Childhood Magic Through Conscious Parenting, followed by a string of heart emojis and links to her blog, podcast, and online parenting courses that generated over 6 figures annually. She posted daily content showing her picture-perfect life with Emma and Tyler, always smiling, always grateful, always expressing how much they loved their emotionally available mother. Her parenting philosophy was built on several core principles that she preached religiously to her devoted followers. First, children should never experience unnecessary stress or discomfort, because it could damage their developing psyches. Second, traditional discipline methods like timeouts, loss of privileges, or natural consequences were forms of emotional abuse that would require years of therapy to undo. Third, parents should be their children's advocates in every situation, fighting their battles and ensuring they never face failure or rejection alone. In practice, this meant Jennifer did Emma's science projects when they were too challenging, wrote Tyler's book reports when he procrastinated, and regularly stormed into school to confront teachers who dared give her children less than perfect grades. When Emma quit 3 different sports teams because she didn't like practicing, Jennifer celebrated it as her daughter learning to set healthy boundaries. When Tyler was caught cheating on a test, Jennifer blamed the teacher for creating too much academic pressure and demanded the incident be removed from his record. The Walsh household operated under Jennifer's carefully crafted system where children were never told no directly, but instead redirected with phrases like, that doesn't feel like a safe choice right now, or let's explore other options that honor your feelings. Chores were called family contributions and were optional based on the children's energy levels and emotional state. Bedtimes were flexible because forcing sleep was considered authoritarian. Screen time was unlimited because restricting it would teach children they couldn't trust their own internal regulation systems. Jennifer's online courses, priced at $297 each, taught thousands of parents how to implement her emotionally responsive parenting framework. She hosted monthly webinars where she answered questions from desperate parents whose children were struggling with behavior issues, academic problems, or social difficulties. Her solution was always the same: more understanding, more accommodation, more protection from the harsh realities of life. She had been featured in parenting magazines as an expert on raising resilient children. Despite having no formal training in child psychology or education, her blog posts with titles like Why Consequences Are Emotional, Violence, and How to Raise Children Who Never Need Therapy were shared thousands of times by parents looking for alternatives to traditional discipline methods. But perhaps most telling was Jennifer's relationship with conflict. Whenever anyone questioned her methods, whether it was Mark during their marriage, teachers at school, or even other parents, Jennifer's response was swift and brutal. She would launch social media campaigns against critics, write lengthy blog posts about how misunderstood gentle parents are, and rally her followers to defend her approach with religious fervor. Mark had tried for years to introduce basic structure and accountability into their household, only to be accused of being emotionally abusive and stuck in outdated patriarchal parenting models. When he suggested Emma should face consequences for repeatedly lying about her homework, Jennifer started a blog series about protecting children from harmful masculine energy. When he wanted Tyler to earn his video game privileges through completed chores, Jennifer created an entire online course about why reward systems damage children's intrinsic motivation. This was the empire Jennifer had built, the reputation she had cultivated, and the identity she had crafted for herself as America's leading gentle parenting expert. In less than an hour, Judge Judy would reduce it all to rubble, using the most devastating weapon imaginable. The truth about what her parenting had actually produced, spoken directly from her children's own mouths. The moment Judge Judy called the case to order, Jennifer Walsh made her first critical error. She looked directly into the camera with a confident smile, clearly believing this would be another opportunity to showcase her superior parenting methods to a national television audience. She had no idea she was about to become the cautionary tale that would end her career. Mark's opening statement was simple and heartbreaking. He explained how his children had become entitled, disrespectful, and completely unprepared for real life under Jennifer's care. Emma, now 12, had never completed a chore without being begged. Tyler, 14, had been caught lying to teachers, cheating on tests, and manipulating adults to avoid consequences. Both children expected everyone around them to accommodate their feelings, and had explosive meltdowns when life didn't go their way. But it was what Mark said next that should have warned Jennifer to tread carefully. "Your Honor, my kids are miserable. They're anxious, they're struggling in school, and they're starting to realize that their mom's way of raising them isn't preparing them for anything. They've told me they want structure, they want rules, and they want to learn how to handle disappointment like normal kids." Jennifer's response was pure arrogance wrapped in therapeutic language. She stood up without being asked, adjusted her blazer, and began what sounded like a rehearsed TED Talk. "Your Honor, with all due respect, my ex-husband represents the old paradigm of authoritarian parenting that traumatized entire generations. What he calls structure is actually emotional suppression. What he calls consequences are really punishment-based control systems that teach children to fear authority, rather than think critically." Judge Judy's expression didn't change, but anyone who knew her could see the storm building behind her eyes. Jennifer continued digging her grave deeper. "My children are thriving under a responsive parenting approach that honors their developmental needs and emotional intelligence. They're learning to self-regulate, to communicate their boundaries, and to trust their own inner wisdom rather than blindly obey arbitrary rules imposed by adults." The fatal blow came when Judge Judy asked a simple question. "Ms. Walsh, do your children do chores?" Jennifer's answer would be played on social media for months afterward. "Your Honor, I don't believe in forcing children to perform labor that serves adult convenience. When Emma and Tyler feel called to contribute to our household, they do so authentically. Mandatory chores teach children that their value is tied to productivity, which is a toxic capitalist mindset that I refuse to perpetuate in my home." Judge Judy leaned forward, her voice deadly quiet. "So your 12 and 14-year-old children have never been required to clean up after themselves, help with household tasks, or contribute to the family in any meaningful way?" Jennifer smiled proudly. "Exactly. They contribute through their emotional presence and by being their authentic selves. That's more valuable than any arbitrary task completion." That's when Judge Judy reached for the confidential file containing the children's interviews. Her next words would shatter Jennifer's world completely. "Well, Ms. Walsh, I'm very interested to hear what your children have to say about this authentic contribution philosophy of yours, because I have their statements right here, and what they told court services about living in your house is absolutely fascinating." Jennifer's face went white as she realized for the first time that her children had been interviewed without her knowledge or coaching. What happened next will go down as the most brutal parenting reality check ever captured on television. Judge Judy opened that confidential file with the precision of a surgeon about to perform a life-saving operation. Except in this case, she was about to end Jennifer Walsh's career with her own children's words. The courtroom fell completely silent as America's most feared television judge prepared to read testimony that would destroy everything Jennifer had built. "Ms. Walsh," Judge Judy began, her voice carrying that tone that had terrified litigants for decades, "I'm going to read you exactly what your daughter Emma told our court psychologist when asked about her home life." Jennifer tried to maintain her confident smile, but anyone could see the panic starting to creep into her eyes. She still believed her children would never betray the perfect narrative she had trained them to present to the world. Judge Judy adjusted her glasses and began reading directly from the transcript. Emma Walsh, age 12, stated the following. "I hate living with my mom because she never lets me learn anything. She does my homework for me even when I don't ask her to, and then I don't know how to do it when I get to school. All the other kids think I'm stupid because I can't do basic math that my mom always does for me at home." The courtroom gasped, but Judge Judy wasn't finished. Jennifer's face had gone completely white as she realized this was just the beginning. Emma also stated, My mom tells everyone that I'm happy, but I'm not happy. I'm scared all the time because I don't know how to do anything by myself. When I try to clean my room or make my own lunch, my mom takes over and does it for me. She says she's protecting me, but it makes me feel like a baby. Jennifer tried to interrupt, but Judge Judy held up her hand with the authority of someone who had controlled courtrooms for 4 decades. I'm not finished reading your daughter's statement, Ms. Walsh. Emma went on to say, I want to live with my dad because he teaches me things. When I mess up at his house, he helps me figure out how to fix it instead of just fixing it for me. My mom thinks that's mean, but it makes me feel proud when I can do things by myself. The devastation on Jennifer's face was complete, but Judge Judy was just getting started. She flipped to the next page with theatrical precision. Now let's hear what your 14-year-old son Tyler told our psychologist. Tyler Walsh stated, My mom has ruined my life and she doesn't even know it. She fights with all my teachers. She does my projects for me and she never lets me face any consequences for anything. Now I'm in high school and I don't know how to study, how to manage my time, or how to handle it when things don't go my way. Jennifer was visibly shaking now. Her perfect composure completely shattered as her son's words cut through every lie she had told herself about her parenting. Judge Judy continued with surgical precision. Tyler also said, All my friends think I'm weird because I can't do basic things like laundry or cooking or even ordering food for myself. My mom calls it protecting me, but really she's made me helpless. I feel like I'm 5 years old compared to other kids my age. But the most damaging revelation was still to come. Judge Judy's voice grew even more serious as she prepared to deliver the final blow, and here's the part that should concern you most. Ms. Walsh, both of your children interviewed separately, said the exact same thing when asked what they wanted most. She paused for dramatic effect, letting the tension build to an unbearable level. They both said they wished they had never been born to you as their mother, because you've made them so helpless and unprepared for life that they're terrified of growing up. Emma specifically said, I love my mom, but I wish she would stop loving me so much that she's destroying me. Tyler said, My mom thinks she's the best parent in the world, but she's actually the worst because she's raising us to fail at everything. The courtroom erupted in shocked murmurs and gasps. Jennifer Walsh, the woman who had built an empire teaching other parents how to raise emotionally healthy children, sat frozen in her chair as the devastating truth of her parenting was laid bare by the most credible witnesses possible. Her own children, speaking honestly for the first time in their lives. Judge Judy closed the file and looked directly at Jennifer Walsh with the kind of stare that had made her a television legend. The silence in the courtroom was deafening as America waited to hear the verdict that would end Jennifer's parenting career forever. Ms. Walsh, Judge Judy began, her voice cutting through the tension like a blade. In 40 years of family court, I have never seen a more clear case of parental neglect disguised as love. You haven't been raising children. You've been raising helpless victims who are terrified of the real world because you convinced yourself that protection means preventing them from learning how to live. Jennifer tried one last desperate attempt to defend herself, stammering about emotional intelligence and modern parenting research, but Judge Judy cut her off with surgical precision. You can take your gentle parenting philosophy and throw it in the garbage where it belongs. Your children just told me they wish they were never born to you. That's not gentle parenting, Ms. Walsh. That's child abuse with a psychology degree. The final verdict was swift and brutal. Custody goes to the father immediately. Ms. Walsh, you will have supervised visits only, and you will complete a parenting course that teaches actual parenting skills before you're allowed unsupervised time with your children. Your children need to learn how to be functional human beings, and clearly, you're incapable of teaching them. Jennifer's empire crumbled in that moment, destroyed not by critics or trolls, but by the devastating honesty of her own children, who finally had permission to tell the truth. If you're shocked by how completely this parenting expert got destroyed by reality, smash that subscribe button because we've got more entitled parent failures that will blow your mind. The aftermath of Jennifer Walsh's courtroom destruction was swift, brutal, and absolutely devastating. Within hours of the episode airing, the hashtag #GentleParentingFail was trending worldwide, with a video clip of her children's testimony being shared over 2 million times in the first 24 hours alone. The woman who had built her entire identity around being the perfect gentle parent had become the internet's most hated mom overnight. Jennifer's Instagram account, once a thriving hub of parenting advice with 52,000 devoted followers, became a digital graveyard. Comments flooded in from outraged parents sharing their own stories of children damaged by helicopter parenting. Her follower count dropped to under 3,000 within a week, and those who remained were mostly there to watch the spectacular implosion of her career. Her parenting courses were pulled from online platforms after refund requests overwhelmed customer service departments. The most damaging blow came from her own community. The Westchester County PTA, which she had led with iron-fisted authority for 3 years, held an emergency meeting and voted unanimously to remove her from all positions. Parents who had once hung on her every word at school events now crossed the street to avoid her. Local news stations picked up the story, interviewing child psychologists, who explained exactly why Jennifer's parenting methods were so damaging to childhood development. But the real victory belonged to Emma and Tyler. Within months of living with their father, both children showed remarkable improvement. Emma learned to do her own homework and discovered she was actually quite capable when given the chance to try. Tyler developed time management skills and began taking pride in completing tasks independently. Most importantly, both children reported feeling happier, more confident, and finally prepared to face age-appropriate challenges. Mark later revealed that his children had begged him for years to get them away from their mother's suffocating care, but they had been too afraid to speak up, because Jennifer had convinced them that wanting independence meant they didn't love her enough. The court interviews were the first time they felt safe telling the truth about how miserable gentle parenting had made them. Jennifer's story became a cautionary tale studied in child development courses across the country, proof that loving your children means preparing them for life, not protecting them from it. Sometimes the most damaging parents are the ones who think they're doing everything right. If this epic parenting fail taught you something about real child rearing, smash that like button, subscribe for more entitled parent disasters, and share this with every helicopter parent who needs a reality check. Let us know in the comments what you thought about this complete destruction of gentle parenting gone wrong.